Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the motherfucking Hangover series. I hope we're all having such a wonderful, splendid, gorgeous, amazing day. I am on my second cup of coffee today. I feel like I'm going to consume 3 cups of coffee, maybe even 4. I feel like 4 is like a little bit excessive, but I am so tired today, so I need all the coffee in the world. I'm drinking it out of this adorable mug that I got when I went to Paris a long time ago, and it's like my favorite mug ever. It's so adorable. I got it in the Eiffel Tower, and I'm obsessed with it. One of my favorite obsessions or like things that I do, a collection, I guess one could say, or a hobby. The only collection I have in life is mugs. Mugs are like my thing. They're my favorite thing, and I like to collect them, and I love just having a cute mug because I feel like when you wake up and you make a cup of coffee and you get to pick out a really cute freaking mug to put your coffee in, it just makes the morning and the day so much better. I need to get more mugs. I have a ton of them at my mom's house, but I need more at my apartment because I just don't have enough. I left like a ton of them here, so I need to get my hands on some more. But I am back in Omaha, Nebraska this week for a little family time, friend time, all the things. I came back for the 4th of July, and honestly, just because I missed my family and my friends, and I just missed Omaha, which is crazy because sometimes I felt like those words would never come out of my mouth again. But I haven't been here since Christmas, so it's been about 6 months, and it has been very nice to just be back here and see everybody. I have been getting, like, honestly, the most amazing sleep as well, which was very much needed because, as I'm sure you guys hear me say all the time, my apartment, it's kind of hard to sleep in. It's, like, bright outside. There's lights. There's cars honking all fucking day. There's sirens. It's just a little bit harder to sleep. And I always have to like blast white noise on a speaker. I have a sleeping mask. Like I have to have all the things or I cannot fall asleep. But being back here, my room is pitch black. It is completely silent and it is so wonderful. I forgot what it felt like to sleep in quiet darkness. Like it is life-changing and I missed that. I missed that a lot and I didn't even realize it, but I've been getting the best fucking sleep of my life, and it's just nice to like get out of a city world for a second and just be one with nature. I've been going on my favorite walk here. It's like this little trail and it is the most beautiful trail. I've been walking on this little path for like years since I discovered it. I've been walking there. It is so gorgeous, and there's normally like all these deer that will come out and they like run through the field, and I've gotten so close to deer before because I don't know if they like, I don't know what the word is, but I don't know if they like placed a bunch of deer there or why there are so many deers at this park, but I am like honestly obsessed with deer because of this, and they're just so adorable and I just love them. And that's like my favorite part about walking there, but I haven't ran into any deer since being back and walking the path, but hopefully before I leave, I run into some deer. I also forgot, like being back here, I feel like in Chicago, I don't really make eye contact with people anymore because when I first moved there, I would like look everybody in the eyes on like a walk or like just literally walking outside to go to the grocery store, whatever it may be. And like, I would make eye contact with people. And my natural instinct when that happens is to smile. And I would smile at every single person I was making eye contact when I first moved there, and no one was smiling back. So I stopped making eye contact with people because I was like, no one smiles back at me. Like, this is so sad. And then I realized I just don't think that's like a thing people do there. But being back in Nebraska, when I've been going on my little walks and I've been making eye contact with people, and every single person that walks by you is like, hey, how are you? And smiles. And I was like, wow, I forgot what that was like. And I love it. You know, it makes you feel whole, makes you feel seen. And I just love it. But I had a crazy, crazy weekend this weekend. I kind of had a feeling this would happen, when I go back to my hometown and I'm here. Me and my friends that are long distance and barely see each other, we love to get crazy together because we don't get to do it that often. So we're like, we have to. One of my best friends also was like, it's your birthday weekend again. So I think hearing those words, made us go a little bit extra crazy. But I'm like not fully hungover right now, but I am feeling slightly hungover, like the next day hangover where you're like not hungover, but you're still kind of feeling the effects of what you did this weekend. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. But coffee will cure me, Advil will cure me, good food will cure me, and all the fucking things. I've also been trying to vlog being back here because I just thought it would be fun. I don't know how well I've been doing. One thing about me is when I'm vlogging, I forget that nobody knows what's going on. And I feel like you're supposed to explain now I'm doing this, but I'm really bad at that. So a lot of the vlogs I've been doing, I think I'm just screaming in them and being ridiculous. So I'll have to watch those on a later date when I don't feel like they would give me anxiety, but hopefully there's some good things in there for us. But yeah, let's just kind of go through what happened this weekend because I feel like this weekend was insane and it was so much fun. But on Friday night, I went over to one of my long distance best friend's house. I haven't seen her in 6 months, so it was so amazing to see her. And she is one of my favorite people in the whole world, and she wanted us to celebrate my birthday again. So she got me a birthday cake that was hot pink and it said 24 on it. She got me a tequila balloon, animal crackers, and these perfect shot glasses that are actually the craziest thing I've ever seen. They're specifically made for tequila shots. And basically it's like those salt lamps that people used to have, if you guys know what I'm talking about. And they were pink lamps that look like a rock, and people would be if you lick it, it tastes like salt, and then everyone would lick the lamps. I don't know if anyone else licked the lamps, but me and my friends were licking the fucking lamps. When people said it tasted like salt, you'd be no way, it tastes like salt. And they'd be yeah, it does, bro. And then you would lick it and you're oh my God, it tastes like salt. And when I think about those times in life, actually, I think about how many people probably licked the spot that I licked, and it makes me uncomfortable. But anyways, she got me shot glasses that are that. The shot glasses are the salty rock. And so when you take the tequila shot, you're licking salt at the same time. It was crazy. And they're adorable and they're perfect. And honestly, that has to be one of the best gifts I've ever received because I didn't even know those existed. I love tequila and that actually changed my life. And I'm so excited to use them forever. I'm pumped about it. But we made cherry limeade drinks and took a tequila shot. And my friend was these drinks taste really, really strong because she made them before I got there. And when she went to make us another round, I was babe, you are using a double shot glass right now. That is why they taste the way that they taste. But, I was not mad about that. But then once she realized that she was using a double shot glass that apparently I bought her, oopsies, I guess the drink that I consumed would have had 4 shots in it. So that actually explains a lot because while we were just having our little drink, I was why am I drunk? I started getting overly happy, started, telling my stories as I do and saying things that, should be left in my mouth. And I think I was drunk before we even went to dinner, but we went to a really late dinner. We went to dinner at this restaurant here called Memoir. They have everything you can imagine. I feel they had sushi, they had burgers, they had pizza, I think. They had pasta, really good shit. And it was so perfect in there. It was so cute. We got to sit right next to the kitchen and they had an open kitchen so you could kind of watch the chefs cook and all that stuff, which I thought was actually really interesting. And that would kind of be my worst nightmare actually because I'm not good at being stared at 24/7. And if people were just watching me cook, what if I started a fire? What if I had to sneeze, and everyone's just did he just sneeze on my burger? That's the thoughts that kind of go through my head. But maybe they all take like allergy medicine before they go to work. I don't know. I forgot to ask questions, but I did ask like who's the head chef, because we were trying to figure out like who is the papa, who is the chefy mama, who are they? And we learned who he was. Okay. But we went to dinner, and then shortly after dinner, we went to this bar that I think they also have one in Chicago, but it's called Ghost Donkey. It's really cute. They have like cute lights on the ceiling, and it was a vibe. And my friend's drink came with this little donkey toy, kind of like the texture of like a rubber duck, but it was a donkey, and we named it Go-Go. I don't know why we named it Go-Go. I think that was like the first thing that came to my brain was Go-Go. And so we started calling him Go-Go. And then we changed his name halfway through the night to Poncho, because he looked like a poncho. If I'm thinking of what a poncho is, it's not like a colorful. So yeah, his name was Go-Go. And then halfway through the night, we changed his name to Poncho. And he came everywhere with us. I was like so obsessed with him. I was making him dance on everything. I was making him sit on people's shoulders, sit on my leg. Like, I was taking Poncho / Go-Go and our relationship like very seriously. I just love having like a little animal toy like that to carry around. Like, it's a great conversation starter. It's just, I don't know, something could seriously be wrong with me for being obsessed with those things. I remember back in the day, my friends and I were obsessed with like weird things like that. But anyways, I am obsessed with Go-Go, and he is no longer with us because I don't know where he went. We had him the next morning when we woke up, and then like 2 days later, we tried to bring him somewhere, and I don't know where he is. I couldn't find him anywhere, and I'm very sad about that. I'm very, very sad about that. But I'm sure he'll like come up or something. He must just be playing like hide and seek with us. I don't know. But if he is playing hide and seek with us, like, Go-Go, get the fuck out, because no one's looking for you anymore. I looked for him for like 5 minutes, and I was like, I'm done. Anyways, enough about Go-Go. We went to so many bars on Friday. It was actually insane. I don't think I have bar hopped to this many bars before in my whole life, and I don't know why we were doing that. So started at the Ghost Donkey place, and then we discovered this new bar called Sammy's, and I personally am obsessed with it, and I want to go back to it before I leave Omaha, because I was so obsessed with it. And I was telling people about it, and they're like, what made it so fun? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I think that it was just fun because they played the songs that we were requesting. And like a lot of bars, I feel like when you're like, play this song, the DJ's always like, no, like, get away from me. And you're like, play my song. But since there was like literally nobody in this bar, they were actually playing the songs we wanted. And our song of the night / the song of my fucking life right now is Blue Strips with Sexy Red version. Like, holy shit. I'm fucking obsessed with that song, and I'm going to be listening to it for probably like 2 more months. I do this thing where I am obsessed with the song, and I listen to it probably like 15 times a day for about a month or 2, and I just fucking love this song. I tried to get them to play it at a bar, like a different bar, and they said that song sucked, and I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. But Sammy's played that song for us a couple different times. The bartender gave us free shots, and people told us we looked like city girls. So I think like the vibes were just up at Sammy's. The owner introduced himself to us for some reason. I don't know what he thought was happening there, but I want to go back. I want to go back right now. I would go for breakfast. I would go for lunch. I would go for dinner. I would go for anything. I don't know if they serve food, but they serve drinks. And it's 5 p.m. somewhere, everywhere, at all times. Isn't that a saying? But anyways, we went to Sammy's. And then I think we went to this area called Blackstone and went to a bar there. And then I think we got bored or something. So we went to this karaoke bar. And it was in a different part of town. So we went to this karaoke bar. And then I was like bored of the karaoke bar. So I think we went to a different bar. And then I think we were bored of that bar. So then we went back to Sammy's. And I don't know if we ended at Sammy's. I feel like we went to one other bar after Sammy's. But I'm actually not I'm actually not sure. But we just went to a lot of bars and we had a lot of fun. And then we got back home. And of course, me being who I am, I wanted to order Taco Bell. But sometimes DoorDash here takes a little bit too long and I didn't want to wait. So I ordered Taco Bell and then I was like, wait, I don't want this anymore. Like, why is it not going to be here for an hour? I'm not going to be awake for an hour. So I had to cancel my order and I think they gave me like credit or something for my DoorDash, which I didn't even know that was like an option. So if you ever order food and then you're like, I don't want this anymore, apparently you can just like cancel it and they'll give you credit for it. I don't know how my friend did that. She was like, oh, let me work some magic. And she did that for me. Not sure how she did that, but apparently you can do that. I was like too drunk in a state of mind where I was like, I cannot figure this out right now, but I want a burrito. But instead of a burrito, I just went to bed. But so the next day came around and I woke up and was like, wow, I am feeling slightly not marvelous. But we had to drink again. You know, there was no option. Because on Saturday, we were throwing one of our friends a surprise graduation party. So I had told our friend that I was picking her up at like 4:30 p.m. so that we could go to dinner. But it was a lie. We were actually going to our friend's house and having a surprise graduation party for her. We had food, there were drinks, there were signs, like all the amazing things you can imagine were there. So we did that, and I think I picked her up at like 4:45 or something. I'm not really sure. And we went to our friends and she was surprised. I think she was pretty surprised. You know, I don't know how she had no clue. Like, I feel like every time I've tried to do surprise situations like this, like someone always ruins it or like someone just knows. And yeah, it was like we actually pulled it off and it was a surprise and it was fun. We were drinking seltzers. We were taking shots. We were playing games and the vibes were up. I think we just went to like 2 different bars that night and danced and sang and had a good time. I know I took like a lot of tequila shots that night, like more than I normally would. I feel like I didn't leave the bar. Like, I think I stood by the bar the whole time and was just like, yep, I want another tequila shot. Yep, I want another tequila shot. Like, it was a little insane. But I also only take half shots. So I don't know if that's like part of the problem, but I just never can finish a full tequila shot. It's just like kind of difficult for me. So I normally just take like half of them. You know, don't be like concerned that I was just standing there taking shots. Like, it was like a half shot or like a sip, you know? But my favorite part about this night was that our friend that hosted the surprise graduation party had ordered tattoos with our friend's face on them. So I still have mine on me. Actually, for some reason, whenever I put on like little tattoos like these, this has been happening to me since I was a child. Every time I put a tattoo like this on my body, it will not come off of me. It will literally not come off for so long. And I am super duper sunburnt right now from my birthday, whenever that was. I am so sunburnt because I always get sunburnt. Like, I know it's embarrassing to be 24 years old and getting sunburned, but like, I swear to you guys, I will put on the most sunscreen and I'll still get sunburned. But I do forget to reapply. I think that's my like issue, but I swear to you, even if I put the sunscreen on, even if I reapplied the sunscreen like 4 times, I swear I would still get burned. But this has to be one of my worst sunburns I've ever had. But anyways, the tattoo is on where my sunburn is. So I was like trying to scrub it off last night, but it was kind of hurting me from the sunburn. So I'm just gonna like hopefully get that off before I go swimming or something, you know? Not that I don't want my friend's beautiful face on me for a whole week. I would love that, but it needs to come off of my body. But anyways, we all put matching tattoos on of our friend's face. And then we get in our Uber and we're driving to the bars. And we had some extra tattoos that we were going to put on people that night. And we asked our Uber driver if we could put one on him. And he happened to be bald. So it was kind of perfect. And he let us put our friend's face tattoo on his head. And I just have to say that's like so iconic. And I'm so obsessed. And I feel like all people should be like that. Like, that is how you know he's a real one, you know? If your Uber driver lets you put a tattoo on his head, like, he's so real for that. I was going to ask him more questions like, are you married? Do you have children? Because I don't know how would someone react to that? I don't know how I would react if my husband came home with another woman's face on his bald head. I'd be like, what the fuck, Jeffrey? Who is that woman? But you know what? Maybe people don't think that way because he was like 50 years old. So his wife definitely is not concerned about a graduate's on his head, a graduate's picture on his head. But that was like the highlight of my month. I feel like that was like the highlight of my year, was getting to put a tattoo on a man's head of our friend's face. Iconic, perfect. All men should be like that. I woke up this morning because he had told me to tag him in my TikTok of us putting it on his head, but I forgot what his username was. But it must have just, the algorithm does things. And so he followed me on TikTok and he followed me on Instagram, and he just messaged me and asked for all of our friends' information because he wants to be friends with all of us. So I love that. And he said, let's get that video to 1 million likes. And I'm like, you know what? I forget his name. I'm like getting a flashback of his name being Dave. I could go look on TikTok right now, but I'm pretty sure his name was Dave, if I had to guess, which he truly looks like a Dave. You know when people they just look like their names? I love when people look like their names. I love guessing people's names. I think I was doing that at the bar Saturday. I was renaming people. I know I renamed this one man to Garrett. I don't know what his actual name was, but I named him Garrett. And I feel like some people are like, please don't rename me. And some people are like, please rename me, But never be offended if I ever rename you, because I would let anyone rename me. And after the bars, this is where things get a little cuckoo crazy, This is where things take a turn. We go back to our friend's house because a lot of my friends here will go out to the bars and then they go to someone's house and then they continue to party and they continue to hang out until the sun rises. I haven't done that in a long, long time, but I was like, you know what? I'm down. So we went to our friend's house. I think people were playing Pong, and I know that I fell at one point. I think I tripped over my own foot because I was wearing high heels and I fell to the floor. And me being me, I was like, I think I just broke my ankle. Or no, was it my wrist? I think I almost just broke my wrist and I'm in pain. And nobody cared. Nobody cared. I don't know if I have done that a lot in the past, pretended to break my wrist, but nobody believed me. And nobody cared. Everybody just continued to play Pong. And I was like, oh, my friends are fake. My friends are fake. Why is nobody caring about my wrist? But my wrist is totally fine. I think it did hurt in the moment. I kind of remember having a little tear in my eyeball. But my wrist is fine now. So all is well. Nobody be concerned about the wrist, I guess. Nobody was concerned when it happened. And nobody has asked any further questions. But 4:30 struck the clock. 4:30 a.m. hit the clock, and my friend and I were going to sleep back at her house, and instead of ordering an Uber, we were like, let's just walk home. I've never had this idea before in my life. I've never been like, let's just walk home. I'm not really into walking. That's not my vibe. I'd rather always get an Uber or drive, why would I ever want to walk? And I think I said maybe we should just walk home. And I don't know if I seriously meant that, but then my friend was like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, okay, should we actually? And we were like, yeah, let's do it. And we told everyone we were walking home, and they're like, are you guys okay? And we're like, yes, we would like to walk home. Because hypothetically, when I was doing the walk in my head, I was like, we'll take this left, then we'll take this right, and then we'll be at our house. I was like, it's not that far. It's got to be 10 minutes. And I had flip-flops, so I didn't have to walk in my heels. I had a pair of flip-flops on me. So we did that, and it actually was longer than I thought. It was probably 20 minutes walking because we were intoxicated, so I feel like we were walking slower. But it was enjoyable, I guess. But I wouldn't do it again. Also, nobody is outside at 4:30 a.m. Not that I thought people would be outside, but I did kind of think there'd be a couple more cars driving around than we saw. we saw like no cars. But what we did see, or what we heard, I guess, was someone outside was screaming that they needed help. And we were really concerned, as anyone would be, because it's like 4:30 in the morning and someone's just screaming like, help me, help me, help me. And we were like, holy shit, like, where is this coming from? And do we like run to them, or like, what do we do? So we called 911, of course, because we were like, what is going on? And like right when 911 answered the phone, 3 cop cars came like flying by with their lights on and stopped at wherever the person was to help them. And yeah, I don't know what was like happening. I couldn't find anything on Google or like wherever you look for that stuff, but I also didn't try looking very hard, so maybe I should do that. But I hope the person's okay. There were a lot of cop cars though, so I'm hoping they're okay. But that happened, and then we got home, and I think we both really wanted ramen noodles. That like ramen noodles remind me of this friend so much. Like, she always has ramen noodles at her house, and that's amazing. And so I was like, I want ramen noodles, but I don't think she had any. I think we ran out of ramen noodles, but I definitely need to like eat some ramen noodles before I leave here. And then on Sunday, we went to this bar that apparently has $1 mimosas. That is like the best deal I've ever heard of in my whole entire life. $1 mimosas? More restaurants need to do that, because that is like, they didn't even advertise that. Like, when we showed up, I thought these mimosas were like $10 a piece or something. I don't know what I thought, but I thought they were like something more like that, or like $7 a mimosa. But when they said a dollar mimosa, I was like, give me 14 of them. Give me 14 mimosas right now. Not even kidding. Well, I am kidding. I did not have 14 mimosas. Nobody be concerned. I had like 4 or maybe 5. I don't know. But that's what we did. And I love mimosas, and I want more. Someone bought me a mimosa champagne, like pre-mixed bottle, and I'm so excited to drink it. I'm going to save it for this weekend's festivities, but I'm so excited to try it out. I just love mimosas. That is the life. That is what it's like to be back in Omaha, Nebraska, and see your long distance friends. And then you go out together, and then that's kind of what happens. But I am so happy to be back in Nebraska. I'm just having a grand old time. And I think this week is going to be even better, But I hope that you guys are all having a great week. I hope that you guys had the grandest, silliest, most fun weekend of your whole entire life. And I hope we all have a safe 4th of July. And I am just so excited for the weekend. But I am so happy you are here and tuned in. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you next week.